Well, hello all. Kind of wet and misty out, but rather warm. Kind of muggy a little bit here in San Francisco. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I think it's going to have to be the Orange Man's new environmental proposal he put out today. It's a doozy. So, the U.S. is going to change key environmental laws. These laws were put in place in 1970, back in Nixon's day. This would speed up construction of oil pipelines, airports, and highways. The NEPA, which was one of the very first environmental laws ever put in place in the U.S., will be no more if this proposal comes through. This would exclude the 1970 Act would be excluded on projects financed in whole or in part by private sector. So any private construction would no longer have environmental protection looking out over it. It would be able to do anything it wants, pretty much. He also wants to remove requirements to examine the accumulative, boy, that's a hard one for me to say, accumulative impacts of the project. That would exclude anything to do with climate change. So if it causes climate change, it's excluded. Now, while we're on the subject of climate change, let's go look at the CO2 for 1/9/2020. We see that it's all the way up to 413.56 parts per million. Now you may say, what's wrong with that? What's the big deal about that? Oh, it's a huge deal, because lately, just in the last month or so, we've seen a huge spike in CO2 levels, to the point where people are asking, is this a feedback loop that we're seeing? It has the equivalent of putting our temperatures at over 6 degrees Fahrenheit above what it is now. That's an absolute death sentence. So this needs to be studied, and will be in the coming weeks, days, and months. Or should that be days, weeks, and months? It will be studied, and I will keep you up on this. So, that's the problem. What is the fix on this thing? Well, the first thing is that the Orange Man must be removed from office. There's no way out of it. He absolutely has no respect for our climate. Does not believe in climate change with all the information that's there. It's everywhere. Just put in climate change. You will find so much information. The most studied science there is. You can go in any direction and help change the impact that humans make on the environment, such as causing the CO2 to go up, to clear up to almost 415 this early in the season is unprecedented. This is a major change. If it continues to stay at this level, it means that we have definitely hit a tipping point, which means maybe what? Well, anyway, all we can do is fight as hard as we can to try and remove this thing from office. He has no responsibility for our lives or our well-being at all. The only person he's looking after is Donald Trump and the payolas that come from all these giveaways to the corporations, the big builders, the construction outfits, the oil drillers, the gas people. All the corporations, they're getting what they want from him, and you know the money is flowing back into him. And he is causing so much trouble around the world, assassinating the second in command of Iran, and then changing the story of why he did it and why he had to do it. Well, isn't Mike Pence in the same boat now? Mike Pence came out yesterday with a lame, sick little speech after his minion, the Orange, came out with his 17 minutes speech on why we had to hit Iran and how Iran isn't going to have nukes as long as he's around. He sounded extremely slurry, drunk. People took pictures of his eyes and found that they were extra dilated, meaning that he was on drugs of some sort. Some say maybe Quaaludes or something like that, some old type drug but he's definitely high as a kite, was stressed out, and was sick looking. We must remove this person from office no matter what you feel. We've got to do it. And there's only one person who's running right now that we could trust changing anything. And that's Bernie Sanders. That's Bernie Sanders. I appreciate the ups, the downs, and new subscribers. And make sure that you look into this. Don't take my word for it.